The legal profession will never stop challenging you, but when you systematically recognize your achievements, you build an internal fortress that external circumstances cannot penetrate.
Welcome to the Free Lawyer Podcast. I'm your host, Gary Miles.
You know, I once won 12 cases in a row representing trucking companies, 12 straight victories. And honestly, it's hard to win a case for a trucking company. But despite that string of success, every morning I'd wake up thinking, what if today's the day they figure out that I've just been lucky? If you're a successful attorney who still feels like an imposter waiting to be exposed, this video will change everything for you. I'm going to show you the one practice that separates confident attorneys from those who achieve success but never feel it. I'm Gary Miles. I've practiced law for over 40 years. I've tried hundreds of cases and I've coached successful attorneys who, despite impressive wins and respected practices, struggle with persistent self-doubt. Today, I'm sharing the missing piece that transforms achievement into lasting confidence. And it's not what you think. By the end of this video, you will understand why your brain dismisses your wins. You will have a clear system for building unshakable confidence, and you will walk away with 3 celebration rituals you can implement immediately. Let me share a story that might sound familiar to you. I had an extremely difficult sexual harassment and defamation case. We were completely outmatched. One attorney against many, fewer resources, facing one of the most aggressive defense teams I'd ever encountered. But we fought hard. We were persistent. And the jury ruled our way on everything. Gave us a substantial award of damages, but even more than that, granted punitive damages. And the company president, who was the aggressor, the wrongdoer, he was fired as a result. A clear victory, right? Yet even after that win and others like it, I still question my abilities. But this pattern is not unique to me. I've worked with partners of prestigious firms, successful solo practitioners, and accomplished litigators who all share the same disconnect between achievement and confidence. And the difference between those who merely survive in this profession and those who truly thrive is not found in their case outcomes. It's not found in their competence. It's not found in their experience. It's in how they internalize their achievements. So why do even the most successful attorneys struggle with confidence? You know, there are a couple real hurdles to our recognizing and valuing our accomplishments, really accepting them as true verification of who we are as successful attorneys. The first is that defensive mindset we always have. You know, we are trained to anticipate problems, to identify weaknesses, to question everything. We're hypervigilant, always looking for the flaws, the imperfections. And that makes recognizing success as feeling risky or uncomfortable because we're used to questioning everything and tearing down what the other side says. And so when we have something that's successful, it's just not in our nature to sit back and recognize it. The other is the pace of our profession. As soon as we finish one case, we're not done. We don't have time to sit back and pat ourselves on the back, do we? We're right on to the next case, one after another. There's no break. There's no time. We were locked in on doing that case for days, weeks, who knows how long. Everything else is backed up. We have to dive back in. And that prevents us from really processing the win because we move quickly from that case to the next one without taking time to acknowledge the success that we had. The other is our perfectionism. You know, the same trait that drives our excellence also makes our celebrating wins almost impossible because No case you try, no matter you handle, no negotiation is ever perfect. There's always something wrong with it. And I remember when I would have a really good negotiation and settlement, I'd walk out wondering that was great. I was well within my client's settlement range, well within their authority. But I wonder if I could have squeezed another $10,000. I always thought that way. And it made celebrating that wonderful settlement difficult because I was always questioning whether it could have been better. The other is our tendency to compare ourselves with others. We're constantly looking at professional rankings, peer comparisons, posts on LinkedIn or in bar journals. And we're always comparing ourselves to others. Well, that was a good case, but that was a small case. Look at the big case that other lawyer won. And that comparing ourselves to the huge victory someone else had makes it sometimes difficult for us to celebrate our own. And the final thing is we assume that confidence comes from our competence and confidence comes from our success. And we've learned for the reasons I've said it doesn't. And when we have a success and we still question ourselves, we then start self-criticism. Why can't I believe in myself after I won that case? You know, when I was a kid, I was heavy, I wore nerdy glasses, I got bullied, and I lurched into perfectionism to overcome it. I ranked #1 in high school, my college class, my law school. And that same perfectionism that drove that success led me to be a very good lawyer, but it also made it impossible for me to celebrate anything that was less than perfect. So what is the key? The key is taking time to celebrate our successes, both big and small. And does it work? Why does it work? It absolutely does. Because studies have shown that each celebration literally rewires your brain for success. It strengthens the neural pathways, and celebrating those wins gives us a mindset of confidence. And that regular recognition of things we've done well, big and small, will create resilience against setbacks. And those celebrations, even the small ones, build exponentially over time. So the more that you celebrate what you've done well, the more you rewire your brain to believe in yourself. You rewire your brain for success instead of a lack of confidence. You know, when you celebrate your achievements, you strengthen those neural pathways associated with success, and your brain begins associating your effort with positive results. And what does that do? It reduces anxiety and self-doubt. So with each celebration, you're literally training your brain to seek out and replicate success patterns. And when you maintain a record of achievements, you build immunity against self-doubt. You know, if you recognize yourself in this pattern, achieving success, but not feeling confident, I want to help you break through. I offer complimentary coaching calls where we can discuss your specific situation and create a personalized plan. The link is in the description. Don't wait until you have enough wins to feel confident. Start building that confidence now. So what are some of the types of wins worth celebrating? Well, the first, of course, is a successful case outcome, a final verdict, a jury result, a favorable outcome on that case you tried. Of course, those things, but more than that. What about that motion where you got a ruling in your favor, or a deposition that you conducted that you felt particularly effective at, particularly successful at? What about a settlement that was really well above your client's expectations or goals? All of those desire celebration. But what about your professional growth? You know, as a young attorney, celebrating your first positive client meeting, your first deposition, your first trial, your first appellate hearing, or mastering a new practice area. They are all worthy of celebration. And victories with relationships. So you get a referral of a new client from another attorney, or you have a client who sends you a new case. Or you collaborate with another lawyer in a successful result. Or you stand your ground ethically, either with someone in your firm or outside your firm, and stay true to yourself and your values. All of those are worthy of celebration as well. And even a defeat, you may think, how can I celebrate a defeat? But when you look at that defeat as a growth opportunity, when you don't allow that defeat to destroy you completely, when you reframe it as an opportunity for growth instead of, I'm a failure as a lawyer, that transforming that potential confidence destroyer into a confidence builder is a real source of celebration. One of my greatest professional pleasures during my litigation career came from co-counseling with a good friend and law school classmate of mine, Erwin Weiss, on a case involving property damage because of mold in a very difficult county. We had completely difficult styles. I'm organized, methodical, analytical, comprehensive. Erwin was smooth and comfortable and relaxed and genuine and authentic and connected with the judge and the jury. And together, our differences made us a very powerful duo. And we received a $300,000 jury award, which is triple our settlement demand. But the real win was learning how that collaboration could transform my practice from isolated struggle into genuine enjoyment. I not only could celebrate the victory, but the pleasure I got out of trying the case, and how I learned how collaborating with another lawyer is a real source of overcoming isolation and building strength and confidence. So how do we practice celebration? What are some circumstances or rituals we could follow? The first is a success journal. I encourage you to start and keep a success journal where you document wins of all sizes, not just trials, but everything that happens that you consider a positive result, a good outcome. You include what the nature of the matter was, what you did, what actions you took, and what the outcome was, and structure it so it contains these components. What was the achievement and what was the success? What challenges did you overcome in achieving that success? What skills did you as a lawyer demonstrate in obtaining that result? What compliments or feedback or acknowledgement did you get from your client, from other lawyers, from the judge, from your partners? What feedback did you receive? And how do you feel personally about the outcome? How do you reflect on it? So include those elements in your success journal and keep it on a daily basis and review it from time to time, because it will allow you to truly see how good of a lawyer you are. And the success journal is one of the most critical elements of building our unshakable confidence. When you have a major win, you win a big trial, you get a great settlement on a tough case, develop a significant, meaningful acknowledgement ritual. Taking your partner, whoever tried the case with you, your paralegal, out to dinner, or take your wife and another couple out. Do something to make that a truly memorable occasion, and include anyone else you want to include to make it more memorable and more enjoyable. So celebrate those big wins. But then each day, I want you to have a daily acknowledgement practice. Each day, at the end of the day, before you go home, identify at least one success, one thing that day that worked out well. And create times of the day, I'd suggest lunch and end of the day, where you look for wins in your day. And then make it a habit through the day to just look for those things that were good, the results that were nice, the wins, the achievements, the things that make you happy. Look for them throughout the day. I once tried a really difficult employment discrimination case, age discrimination case in Maryland. And it, of course, was in the United States District Court for the District of Maryland. And the other side filed a motion for summary judgment, and I wrote what I thought was a very good brief with a lot of inferences that supported our position. But I lost the case on summary judgment, and I spent weeks obsessing over it, trying to figure out what I had done wrong, if I picked a bad case or I handled it wrong. And I later learned that that judge had ruled against every employee in every employment case he ever had, granting summary judgment for the employer. And then I realized maybe I didn't have much chance, but I had beat myself up terribly about it. And now I would look at it differently. I would celebrate the quality of my opposition brief. The quality of my opposition to the motion for summary judgment really was quite well written. And also the courage as essentially a sole practitioner to take on the biggest, most accomplished, most renowned firm in Baltimore City. So here's what I want you to remember. The difference between attorneys who merely survive and those who truly thrive are how they handle those wins, how they internalize their achievements, how they celebrate the good results. It isn't the case outcomes that makes a difference. You win some and you lose some. That's not what makes you an attorney who truly thrives. Instead, it's how you celebrate, recognize, acknowledge, enjoy, and treasure those achievements. After 40 years in litigation and coaching a lot of really successful attorneys, I witnessed this truth. Celebration is not just about feeling good. It's about claiming your rightful place in the profession. Every win you fail to acknowledge is a brick missing from the foundation of your confidence. The legal profession will never stop challenging you. But when you systematically recognize your achievements, you build an internal fortress that external circumstances cannot penetrate. Your journey from imposter to influencer begins with a single, deliberate act of recognition. What achievement, no matter how seemingly small, will you acknowledge today? If this resonated with you, here's what I'd like you to do. First, hit that like button or that follow button if you're watching this on YouTube or listening to the podcast. Follow us. And I will bring out weekly messages that will help you see your achievements differently. Subscribe and ring the notification bell. The new content I release each week is specifically designed to help lawyers like you break free from the mental barriers holding you back. And then leave a comment on YouTube or respond to my LinkedIn post, sharing a win you're going to celebrate today, or email me at gary@garymiles.net. Nothing makes me happier than seeing that you've taken action on this message and you're going to celebrate a win today. So send it to me in email or post it here. And it could be as simple as having a difficult conversation, or as huge as winning a major motion or that big trial. I like to celebrate all victories here. And if you're ready to transform your relationship with your practice, schedule a complimentary coaching call with me. The link's in the description and the show notes. Don't wait until you feel ready, because that day never comes. Start building today the confidence you've already earned. Remember, you are not an imposter. You're a skilled professional whose achievements deserve recognition. Start giving those achievements. Start giving yourself that recognition that you deserve today. Thank you so much for listening to me today. I appreciate each and every one of you. And as always, please be well, be safe, and be free.